The legendary Jack Della Maddelena hitting mitts in preparation for his fight with Islam Makhachev. I'm 14-3 professional MMA fighter George Hardwick. Let's break it down. We all love to break down a little bit of mitt work. We can see JDM moving on the back foot, hitting a 1-2, and stepping back off an uppercut into southpaw to hit a jab. Very, very Marvin Hagler. It's one of those things, you hit a right uppercut, it's one of the most exposed shots. You've always got to have an exit to it. You hit a body shot, you hit an uppercut. Those are very, very exposed shots, and you've got to lower your hand and stand fairly close to your opponent. And a lot of people don't emphasize the exit. If you hit with a backhand or you're finishing on that uppercut or that body shot, you really got to focus on the exit. And look how tight he is on the exit, making himself small. That's the difference between dancing and fighting. Dancing, you make yourself big, and fighting, you got to make yourself small, generally. Hitting that jab, hitting that up jab, lots of different angles of jabs, because if you only got one jab, it's going to be very easy to get countered. If he's fighting a southpaw, that up jab, obviously you can give up the hand fight, but you can kind of stop the hand fight from even happening, and you can jab up underneath. Vasyl Lomachenko did it to an opponent with his right jab. Just timed the opponent's bobbing lead hand and would up jab underneath it, sprawling and then coming out into southpaw from the reaching on the takedown of the mitt man. That's very important. Why it's good to have two stances is you could be like 99% orthodox, but if you come out of a clinch or come out of a wrestling exchange, you're not going to be able to have the say on coming out orthodox every time you break from those clinches. You have to be able to switch stances during that clinch exchange, during that takedown defense, like we just saw off of JDM right there. Good example is Cody Garbrandt. Not necessarily off the break, but he's 90% orthodox. His two knockdowns against Dominic Cruz, he was southpaw. Boom, right body hook into right head hook. Good to come back up to the head after going to the body as just a way to smother the work of the opponent. And the same thing there with the left uppercut. Jab and dip, jab and duck. This is an effective strategy of JDM against the wrestlers. That's why it's a big reason why Bilal almost couldn't remember the name. Bilal couldn't really shoot on JDM. People say he should just wrestle, he should just wrestle. Well, JDM, he was doing the jab and duck a lot. And if he was shooting, he was going to shoot like that into the head, into the forehead of JDM. And JDM would just have the better clinch position coming off that. Bilal would have to really force takedowns and force sloppy shots. And we've only ever really seen someone like Khabib be able to do that over the course of 5 rounds. It's going to make you really tired. Jab and right hook, a lot of lead hand work, hitting the cross and then pulling back. Look how when he hits those crosses off the rear hand, he'll pull his elbow back. And look at the mitt work of the pad holder here. He's always checking the guard where he would be open. Say he throws a left hook, he's going to be open to that right hand. So the pad man, he's going to throw that right hand or that right pad back at him just to check. Always checking the opening there. Pivot hook, really good option there. Jab with a slight dip, dipping off to the side. See how he not lunged, but he pulled his left elbow down into his ribs and his hip without pulling his hand down to load that left straight. There's the jab with a slight lean and a slight shoulder angle just to make it hard to step in and clinch. And there's the dart. He hits the dart from both stances. Eddie Alvarez, legend of the dart, is pretty much just throwing the backhand through. And then it's very close to just throwing a pivot, but you can let your leg trail and come out the side, either in the opposite stance, so I can throw a right straight from orthodox, just let my right foot drift, and then end up turning back into them to be southpaw, or you can do the same, but just pivot out and remain in the same stance. Jab, up jab, always checking the stance of JDM is the pad holder, because you don't want him overstepping on the jab. If you've got someone with a really good timed takedown, notice how some people step on every single jab, and it just makes them a sucker for getting ducked under. If you're stepping on every single jab or getting low kicked. So sometimes just throw that jab on the spot. We see that a lot in Muay Thai. People just jab on the spot. Cross hook and a little solar plex shot, uppercut to the body. Really nice selection of shots. Drifting out, getting his shoulders in position, getting his head in position. So if a clinch did happen, he's likely going to win it. And that's one of the reasons why he can be hard to shoot. And he's not necessarily dropping his hands, but his elbows are so tight to his body that if you shoot, you're kind of going to be shooting into his frames really well. A lot of people flare their elbows out, especially when they get tired and the lats start to pump up. When the lats get pumped up, those elbows flare out in a lot of fighters. But JDM has such good technique, such good endurance that even when the arms are going, even when it's late in a 5-round fight, he still has his textbook form, and that just comes through drilling it out. Always practicing on the back foot here. Very important to practice both on the front foot and the back foot. It's amazing how many pad holders just stand right in front of the guy hitting the pads, and that's fine for repetitious drills, but that's the difference between having a padman there or just practicing on a bag. Uppercut, cross, body hook, and stepping back, cross. See how he's almost like planting the foot sometimes as he's landing on the back foot there. Boom, like left hook to the body, throwing the tap hooks. Sometimes jab hook, cross. Those two first shots are a bit more of a tapping rhythm, and it kind of the tempo change into the hard right hand is what catches people off guard. Doubling up, circling out, using a kind of bouncing a little bit up and down, but more forward and back than up and down, because bouncing up and down, you can kind of expose your legs for the takedown. Only really doing that when he's well out of range of the padman. Some people will do that and relax right in front of the padman or right in front of the bag. I'm like, you're going to train that habit. So if you're going to have that little bounce, that little loosen off, probably best to move out of range and then do it. Uppercut cross, a lovely classic combination. See how his elbows are so tucked in. This is something you say every time if you've coached beginners, is it's natural for the elbows to come out whilst moving, because it's equivalent to holding your hands out to balancing when you're walking on a balance beam. But you don't want to keep the balance by flaring your elbows out, sticking your arms out to the side, doing a mini little T-pose. You want to keep the balance by bracing your legs, and that's what Jack Della Maddelena does. And because he can switch stances really well, whenever he does feel really off balance, he's always got that option of switching stance or even just a classic pivot out. I've been George Hardwick, breaking this down. Look forward to seeing JDM's next fight. Like, comment, subscribe, algorithmic nonsense. Let me know what I should break down next.